But get us started, Magic. Let's do this. Oh crap! Wait, I don't have my. I forgot to open my own software. Fucking idiot. No. Say
Something.
Okay, I got sound.
Might have just cut my intro off early. Not too early.
Turn your sound off. And recording. Hey guys, welcome back to another Wolves Community Blog. Well, today we got some interesting stuff for you. We're going to be talking about the Titan Planets and a patch that we've been working on. We're going to be implementing that on Monday, today, right after the blog's over. We're going to be working on that one there. The other things we're going to be discussing is some of the rules. Some of them are working, how others aren't, how we need to change them, any new rules and ideas you guys have been coming up with that need to be implemented that aren't specific enough, whatever it comes out of your heads there from playing for the past week, and see what needs to be changed, what doesn't, what's working, what's not, so we can actually keep working on our balance schedule here because we want this thing to work right. So, first things first, update on the oversized Titan planets that we made. We are going to be reworking those, so those planets will be getting a wipe, almost guaranteed. We're going to try not to let it happen, but I don't see how it won't. So, as some of the factions have already heard, they've already gotten all their stuff off the planets. Anything that's on those planets now will be respawned, brought back in, and you will be getting back everything that you lose if you do not get there in time for the patch to go out. So, don't fear about losing your stuff. You will get it back. So that on that note, we had an incident last night where we need to figure out what we want to do with this. Attacking bases using tunnelers. Now, before we jump all the way into it, one person did make a good point to me here that he messaged in. Tunneling and the way we got things set up, yes, from my point of view, doesn't work because we don't have defenses in our bases to prevent the artillery cannons and everything. It's just exploding the bases internally because we have the internal turrets. So all of our turrets are based on the exterior, so we don't blow everything and just completely annihilate bases. But he did come up with the fact that if you're worried about someone tunneling into your base, build a trench trap. Put a moat around your base or something, so that way while they're tunneling through, they come out, they fall down, and then get exploded by your turrets or whatever you got sitting there. But let me hear your guys' opinions and your thoughts on that.
Well, if it was stated that those were illegal to begin with, then why would anybody set up any bases with underground defenses?
Well, you got to remember, we do not have that in the rules list right now. It has never been in the rules list. In the old server, it was just for us, it was a given. So we got a lot of new players now that were never part of those discussions. We never made it an official rule. It never has been. So that's why we're discussing it now. Do we need to make it an official rule? Can it work? Can we make a way to make this work? Or is there just no way it's going to happen and have turnabout fair play? That's why we're discussing this.
Well,
Right.
the real problem is structural integrity.
Okay.
Even if you dig a ditch, it can go under the ditch and come up again and just take away the surface underneath the surface of the base will crumble. No defenses will be of use. Any of the defenses will be of use.
It's not just the trench is what he means. Is you want to put turrets there to protect your trench. So you're going to have your side mounted turrets on your walls or whatever it is, or you're going to have placements down there where you're going to have guns. So when this driller appears in your trench, the guns would take it out. I mean, if it's a driller, the most it's going to have is 2 or 3 miniguns on it by rule. So it's not going to be a vehicle that you're going to have defended.
Understand, but how deep are you going to dig the ditch? And I mean, the driller can go underneath the ditch, come back up underneath the base.
Very true. Unless you dig the trench all the way down to the lava.
Oh.
But go on. We want to hear everyone's opinion on this.
Yeah, there's also the likelihood that, I mean, there's no notification in the game that a base is being raided. If all you
Right.
do is fly patrols and you don't see anybody, then you know it you're not gonna engage because you can't see anybody. So if you're patrolling and you're checking your bases, and all of a sudden, boom, one base goes down. Why did it go down? There's nothing there, and somebody has a tunneling machine, and I've seen these tunneling machines where, I mean, it's just insane, where they don't even use drills. It's an SV, and they're just blasting the ground underneath, and you can make a perfect square tunnel, as big as you want, and for as long as you want, underground. So I mean, you could literally be on one side of the planet and just decide, hey, I'm just going to tunnel all the way underneath because I know where this other base is, and take it out from underneath. And there's, my issue with that is it's just too easy.
No,
Cap
I agree with that.
capping the capping the nodes, the ore nodes and that. It's supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to be met with resistance.
Well, and the other aspect of it is, from the beginning, I've said you guys do not want to build small mining facilities because if you can't put up defenses around it, you're going to lose that base. You're going to go off one day, go to another planet, but by the time you come back, that base is going to be gone. Somebody's going to have wiped it out. You want artillery turrets, you want your rocket launchers, you want your flat cannons, everything that goes on a base to protect it from anyone who comes by. Because if it's too much of a challenge for them, then they're going to walk away and go after something else, or they're going to get annihilated by doing so. Um, I think the tunneling to a base takes away the challenge of actually doing PvP. I like the idea of being able to be sneaky and stuff like that, but when it comes to doing actual PvP, I think it takes away from the actual challenge of it.
So, with that being said, one of the issues that I had come across and was thinking about, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, but having it to where we have a declaration of war so that people know, hey, you're at war at this point, to prevent, say, an entire faction getting on and waiting for a new member of an opposite faction getting on that doesn't have any of the game or how many bases or locations of bases or anything from that, from having all the stuff wiped out.
Well, believe it or not, there's no way to be able to do that. I'm gonna give you an example. All right, let's say we just landed on a planet, so we put a base in. We're building it up, but we haven't explored the planet. You haven't explored the planet. We haven't seen each other yet, so you don't know. So you could be at war with each other for days before you finally realize, oh, there's somebody else here.
True, but aren't you shouldn't there, okay, let's throw this out there. Shouldn't there be a requirement that when you go to a planet, you find all 4 resource nodes? The only way you can be at war on a planet is if you start building a mining facility on a resource node if they're not all claimed. So once you find all 4 nodes, you know that nobody's on that planet officially mining before you would have the first crack at it at that point.
Well, that would just negate the combat system altogether. Because the 4 nodes just gives you the territory right to do whatever you want with the planet at that point. It gives you the mining rights to everything, and nobody else has mining rights for them. That's why you're protecting them. But for combat, all you have to do is build a base and have a hover vessel to actually assault the opposing forces. That's how you start a war, is literally building a base.
Right.
Whether it be your mining facility or a base not on a node, that constitutes the war as soon as you build a base. If you make it where it's as soon as you build a mining facility, but you're not building the mining facility for war, you're building that to go mining.
Right.
Two different sides to that coin.
But if you build a base for war just out there nowhere in general, who are you at war with if all the other bases or all the resource nodes are unclaimed? You're not fighting anyone. You just put a base there to put a base there. you have no more ownership planet at that point than the next person that puts a combat base down. It's not until you start securing resource nodes that you even have a claim to the planet, though.
Well, you got to remember how the rules of engagement. You own the planet. Anyone coming to your planet is now trespassing. If you don't own the planet,
Right.
then you're not going to attack them unless they come after you first or fly over your base or something like that.
Or start building a base to come at you. That's what we
Exactly.
had the rules set down as, is if all the
That's
nodes
how
are
you
not
know
owned.
you're at war.
Right.
The moment somebody opens fire by actually building a base and then coming at you, or starting to build a base and you go after them, that's how you know you're at war. Because you're face to face with each other. I mean, you got to remember the one thing about these mining facilities. If you're not sitting there protecting them, then you're not going to know whether it's still there when you come back the next day. There's no way to know because not one of our factions has enough people to be able to get around to all 4 of those play fields every day to make sure. Not going to happen. So
Right.
when you log on, all right, you've mined out for the day. You got your mining facility, let's say on Jupiter 2. So that's what you got. That's what you're working with today. So you're mining mad. You're going around hitting every asteroid to get everything you can, and then you load up your container and you take it back to your homeworld. Next day you come on, your mining facility is gone. So now you're going to come back with you're going to come back and build either a new mining facility, or you're going to build a base and then assault theirs and take theirs over again, just like they did yours, because they did the same thing. They went to the planet, they took yours out, mined for the entire day for the resources. You're not going to want to go to every single planet. That's why you want to trade. You want to pick one planet you're going to fight with.
User disconnected
Uh-oh.
from your channel.
I think we lost him.
Because no matter which faction you're with, none of us have the resources to hold the entire solar system. Period. No matter how big any of our factions get, no faction will be able to do it. So you want to pick a specific planet, resource area you want to put all your strength into, all your resources to hold that one area only. That's the only thing you can do. Any of us, that's all any of our factions can do. What everybody's been doing is trying to get every planet that they can get to for their own resources. Well, if you're going to do that, you need to keep the mindset right then and there. You know you're going to lose that base on this planet and that planet and that planet because there's no way you can protect them all.
Right. Which is why I don't have that play style. I play exactly like you were saying it should be played, locking down one planet, which is what my faction was in the process of doing.
Then you're doing a good thing because you'll actually be able to protect yours in the long run.
Right.
But even if you're not online, the other half of your faction's not online, but one new guy is, and you lose a base that night, there's nothing he could have done about it anyways. So whether you knew you were at war or not, what's he gonna do?
Right.
Well,
it's more of a courteous thing. I mean, I'm not going to take advantage of a situation because of a new player, because if that's the case, I'm not going to allow any new players to ever come back into my faction. I'm going to lock it down with the people I got, and I'll never allow anyone to come in at that point, which kind of unfair. I'd rather have, the expanding part of it, but at the same time, I'd like it to where people wouldn't take advantage of a guy who has 5 minutes worth of gameplay on his belt to, hold the fate of a faction in his hand. And I don't want to limit someone saying, hey, you can't get on here and play unless, one of us is on just in case something happens. That'd be ridiculous.
You're worrying over losing stuff. Everybody's going to lose stuff. These planets are PvP zones, period. You're going to lose stuff every day. No matter what you do. Even if you all are on one of your planets, you might be losing something and you won't even know it. Just like for us, we've already lost bases. It's going to happen. There's nothing we could do about it. We just don't have the manpower to sit on the base. But it goes back to what I was saying before. You're going to build your bases that you don't want to lose to be bigger and stronger. You're going to have 5-6 thick walls with turrets everywhere, and then point defense on your planets. You're going to put them in different places. You're not just going to build your mining facility. You're going to build military bases all over that planet of small little outposts with turrets on it to big fortresses that are just covered in guns.
Right, but
Otherwise-
then at that point you wipe the PvP because you've overbuilt a base so much that no one's even going to want to try it, and that just kills it. Everyone gets so far established that, okay, well,
Now they
our
have to
only
trade with you.
option is to trade, which
Exactly.
eliminates the PvP entirely.
No, it doesn't.
As far as planets are going, I mean, if you know you have no choice or no chance of taking over a base, why are you going to try to hit it? Waste your resources?
See, now we're getting into that old PvP side of things of, oh, what is it? How do you say it?
Well, that's why we need the limits.
You're afraid of losing things.
Well, no, that's not it at all. I have no problem with losing things. I have no problem with going and taking things. I have a problem with going to someone's base and seeing 500 turrets sitting there, knowing that, okay, I'm going to lose all my stuff if I go to there, so there's no point in me even trying at this point because they just have all the stuff. We have no limits when it comes to bases or anything like that. So
That's
there's
why
nothing...
you go in with your friends and you have a few extra tanks with you and you annihilate the base. It's not that hard. You could do it with 3 tanks on any base, no matter how it's designed.
I highly doubt that.
Well, first of all, only 21 turrets at any given time on any structure can fire at once.
Right.
You got one
But-
tank that's flying around, keeping the attention of the turrets. The other 2 tanks are taking out the turrets as they're firing.
But we've already proved that's
Proven
not
and
the
tested.
case when we've proved that it's not the case when we built that little pie that had all the turrets that 20 people couldn't assault with how many tanks and how many SVs and how many
One
people
tank.
rage quit that day. All we were using is nothing more than regular player turrets on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone just gave up at that point.
We only
It's-
had one tank
there's-
and we were doing it on foot.
No, there were several SVs there.
Well, yeah, but you
We
gotta
had-
remember, those SVs that we used were throwaways. They weren't made for assaulting bases. They never were.
Well,
They were
it doesn't
designed to attack
matter
POIs.
anyway. Right, but I mean, it wasn't. They weren't. Even if they were designed, they would have lasted maybe another 10, 20 seconds at most. I have yet to see a SV that can stand up to any player turrets for more than 30 seconds. They can't outrun them. They can't, take the hits. It's just impossible.
That's why the tanks were designed. That's why there's hover tanks in the game altogether. The hover tanks are what has been designed to be used to take out bases. That's why they have artillery cannons.
Right, but
That's why their damage output is high. Where if you have an SV, they're not made to be assaulting bases by players in any way. Anyone who flies in with a small vessel is going to get annihilated. Anyone who comes in with a couple of hover tanks designed for actual combat will take on any base put out there.
the second a tank gets hit by a base artillery, it's on.
Nobody's
That's-
home.
Yeah, but
But-
that's the whole point. That's called PvP. If you're going
Well,
to
yeah,
be
but-
slow-moving hover tank, where you're going to sit there and get shelled to death, then yeah, you're going to get your butt handed to you. But if you're always constantly on the move, then you'll be fine. And that's why you don't do it with just one.
I don't know. I have my doubts. I'm gonna state that
Try
now.
it
I
out.
have my doubts.
Well, to be honest, the best PvP experience I had was just a friendly combat. We actually said we were coming. They were waiting for us. We attacked. It was a battle of 2 hours or something, and we lost, and we retreated, and they were as graciously let us take our broken vessels and whatever, and friends that's been on the planet, and that was the battle, but it was good fun.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
But yeah, you
But-
have to have a good understanding with who you're fighting with, because PvP is always bitter.
Oh, always. That's the other side of the coin. Is we've always been friendly and amicable about it. I don't care what happens after the battles. You guys can work together and give each other back everything for all I care. But the point is the battles have to happen. You know, if you're going to be on a planet with each other, you're going to be fighting with each other. But you can always do it with a sense of honor.
Yeah.
I always tell everyone, fight with a pride of honor and do the, you know, if you destroy them, get back home if necessary, if that's what you want to do. Or laugh in their face. What are you going to do? It's going to happen. You're going to lose stuff. Things are going to get exploded. I mean, the ship that I've been working on recently for a specific purpose for our faction, I know is going to get annihilated. But it's going to be a hell of fun because we're going to have fun doing what we got planned. Whether it works or not, I have no idea.
Oh, that is the point, of course. Fun.
Yeah, I always looked at, you know, the bigger bases and that with 200 bazillion cannons and everything like that as just a new challenge.
It is. There's always a way to beat something, and you just got to figure out how. If you're worried about not being able to do it and losing all the time, then you're never going to have any fun.
I mean, I took out a Xeno Fortress with a little SV that I called it a little glass cannon that only had 4 missile launchers on it, and over the course of you know, a little bit of time, I was able to take each one of those cannons out and then go raid it by foot. So it's not the amount of turrets and outer defenses you have. It's how much patience does the attacker have? You know, how much
Exactly.
you know, how
How
much
much
trial
is
and
that
error do they
base
want to put
really
into it?
worth to the other faction that's attacking it? If it has nothing to do with the mining rights of the planet, then don't attack it. Let them have their foothold. Then just play the defensive game and be defensive with just your bases.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that everyone's going to do that. Is that they're just going to hunker down, no one's going to go attack, and we have nothing to do at that point.
I've seen it happen as well.
Well, I can tell you right now, the military faction is not going to be playing that way. If you're on a planet that we're on, we will be at war and be fighting with each other. Because otherwise, what's the fun? Why are you just going to sit there?
Exactly. That's why I said what I had said about bases. If you over OP them and then, you know, everyone's just sitting there, no one's going to want to go after anything, and it's just going to kill the PvP on it.
Didn't make a conscious choice. Make plans.
Well,
Just
I can
do
do
it.
that for myself, but I can't do that for the next person.
You can do it for your faction. You're the faction leader. You set
Yeah,
the
I
plans
know
of what
that.
you guys are working on, and you just tell them this is what we're doing, and that's what happens.
Well, and that's what I do, but I'm saying I have no control over wolves or pirates or nomads or no
No.
one else. So if everyone else that, and I'm the only one who doesn't, then you only have a fifth of the server, if even a fifth, that is, you know, open to actually have a PV battle at that point.
Well, that's why you instigate it. If they don't want to do it, you instigate it. You do it. That's what we're doing.
Right.
There's nothing to prevent you from starting it and making it happen. If somebody wants to play defensive game and play like that, then you go and tell and make them understand that either you're going to fight back or you're going to be gone. It's that simple.
Right.
I mean, Magic is basically by himself in the Nomads right now. And it's going to be hardest for him to hold on to any planet outside of his homeworld at the moment because it's just him and Ionic, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'm going to tell you right now, in order for them to progress, they're going to have to do something, whether go to the gold planet and start trying to get some mining rights there, or, well, actually, basically, that is their only choice right now. They need money. But, or get a resource that everybody else wants to buy. So they're going to have to pick one planet that they know that they're going to have to spend their time on, keeping it safe so they can make some money. Because right now, I doubt they have enough to push forward if they don't.
I think there needs to be a list of what planets are taken over.
But that's going to change all the time, and you know I'm not going to be changing that list every day. I have enough on my plate.
Oh, come on.
You want more responsibility, Magic?
What? Huh? No, I didn't say me.
Okay, then yeah, there you go. And I don't care. There's no rules against you guys as faction leaders telling the other faction, "Hey, we're on the same planet. We're at war with you." There's nothing saying you can't tell your enemy you're at war with them. There's nothing in the rules stopping you from setting up times
No.
for battles.
You can, if you make it a rule, if you kind of invade, people have been notified. You just mention it once. We're entering this planet.
Hey, Wally,
And then-
we're at war with you.
Then stuff can go happen, and I mean, the surprise effect is gone. Okay, but
I mean,
nobody can
like I
say,
said, there's no rule against people saying, "Hey, you were at war with you. Just wanted to give you a heads up that if we come across you, we're going to blow you up."
yeah, sure, but if there's no rule, nobody's going to say it.
Right. But why does there have to be a rule specific to, "Hey, if you go on a planet, you got to let everybody know you're there"? What if nobody even cares? And now everybody cares because you're on the planet.
Well, sort of for the honor thing, to honor the honored.
Well, and then that comes back to the point of just, if you want to, tell the other side you're there. I know the pirates will never go for it.
Well, I just know that, from my standpoint, the other day, sitting in a general channel, overheard conversation of a new person coming in. The only member of that faction that was on was like, "Well, I wasn't planning on being on for a while. I guess I could come on long enough to put them into the faction." I could have struck their planets right then and wiped out everything they had while there's a new guy sitting on there. But in my mind, that's just not fair to anybody. That would, that's not the kind of gameplay that I'm looking at.
Well, the
Happening.
other-
I mean, I want
the
an
other
actual
aspect
PvP
is-
fight.
Right. Well, you're not going to always have players on every planet that you're on with their bases. Like I said, if they're on more than one or two planets, like let's say two different play fields, you got Jupiter 2 and Titan. If they're trying to hold on both of them, there's no way you're going to have players on both of them. This is not going to happen. No matter how big the factions are, it's impossible to cover all the planets. So you want to pick a specific play field you're going to be on, then you'll actually have people around. If they're making that choice to be on multiple planets, then they're going to have bases that are always going to have no manpower on it. All it has is their turrets, and they're going to lose those bases. There's nothing to go around that, and nothing to change to fix that.
I'll be right back, guys. I gotta make a quick run.
So, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from and all that, but you got to remember the other aspect of the way the game mechanics work. There's not enough people to cover multiple play fields. That's why we have them set up so there's 3 planets in each play field. You can maintain 3 planets together because they're in the same orbit of each other.
Right.
Now, you can't do that with a separate play field we have to warp to every time. So if each faction only tries to harbor one play field, but decides, "Hey, we're going to war with these today," right now, no matter what, all planets are going to be war-based because everybody's just trying to figure out what planet they want to hold on to. In the end, I already know. I can tell you guys right off the bat, and everyone out there, planet is the only planet that the military police are actually going to try and hold on to. The rest of them, we're going to trade for everything.
Yeah. Well,
And then
but
every
I mean,
couple
and
of
I
weeks,
can,
we're going to come and attack your planets.
right, but and seeing that's just the thing. You just kind of contradicted yourself. If you said no one's going to try to hold on to multiple planets and all that stuff, what's the point of invading someone else's planet? You're going to bunker down, lock down your one planet, and trade, and you'll never engage in a PvP battle at that point unless you choose to. There would be no economic
no.
reason to do so.
That's true.
No, the point is if we go to another planet and fight over it, it's because one, we finally got the resources to do so. And we're going to come over there and we're going to fight you for one of your planets because that means we can get more resources for less money. We don't have to work twice as hard.
Yeah,
And we're going
How
to do
much
it.
It
work
is
is it to
fantastic.
open up an auto miner? I mean, that's no work at all.
Gold cannot be auto mined. You have to mine the gold. The other planets
Right,
we can
but
auto mine.
that's
But
just it. That's the one resource that you auto mined. That's the one resource that you
you're
have to get
missing the
into.
point. If we go and invade a planet, we're not doing it to hold on to it forever. We're going to hold our ground and mine the crap out of it until we have containers full of it so we don't have to buy it from you for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. And we can just go back to rebuilding
But
and
that's
doing other
just
stuff.
it. That's never going to happen though. Because if
Says
you're
you.
sitting on my planet or on any planet for that instance, a smart player wouldn't even bother with trying to take over the base if you're not planning on holding it. All they're going to do is pop off your HVs every time you send one out, and you'll never get to those resources that you're wanting to mine. You'll have to sit there for weeks on end with those auto miners because that'll be the only way you can get your stuff. And at that point, will it really be worth it?
There's no way to secure an entire planet unless you
Right,
cover the
and
entire thing. So no matter
and I
what,
agree with
during a
that.
war, fighting, let's say we're fighting with you guys over Prometheum,
Uh-huh.
we'll still be able to mine. There's no way you can stop us.
The fact that if you don't have a mining facility, you
That
have to
does.
knock off one of my bases where you can touch an asteroid or a meteor.
Right. So we're going to come down in force as a faction to
Right.
have some fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to take out one of your facilities. If we lose, well, it was fun. We'll come back and try it again next week.
Right. Which is how it's supposed to be. And I have no issue with that. You come and attack us, that's fine. We're going to take our stuff back and we're going to prevent you from advancing. That's the whole point of the game. I just see everyone having that mindset and no one wanting to play at a certain point. And that's my concern, is that everyone's just going to get fed up and the game's going to go stale, and that's where we're going to be stuck.
I don't see it ever getting to that point, and even if it did, we would just figure out what to do to balance it next. I mean, right now, you're talking months and months down the line. At the way things go, that's like months down the line if it ever came to it. That's a lot of work to secure one system from other people. Period.
Well, I'm basing it off of the fact that day is the most people I've seen on the server almost 2 weeks. And I think the only reason that's happening is because we're all in this bug right now. I have never seen more than 2 or 3 people on at any given time. 2 weeks now. Everyone's just not there. I don't know where they are, but they're not here.
Well, that's because they were whining and complaining about the whole ship class system and the rules that were coming out and not getting involved in the discussion. So they just got hyped up and angry and just said, I'm done.
Right.
Instead of voicing their opinions and getting involved in the discussions like everybody else did. And then the rules changed to fit what they wanted anyways. But that's not going to bug me any. You got to remember, we got more new people joining us all the time. So if old members want to whine and complain, then well, that's their business. But the rest of us are still going to try and make the best of this and have fun with it. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
And I know a lot of other people aren't going anywhere, and a lot of new people that are joining us are excited about joining us and having fun with this. Instead of whining and complaining about it, they just want to play by the rules and have fun.
Right. Well,
And everybody
that's,
everybody knows that everything we do, it's just like an alpha game. Things change.
yeah.
This week it might be we have it set up this way, trying to balance it out. Oh, we find out, well, that doesn't work. So next week we change it up and try it a different way to make sure it works. Everything is fluid until we know for a fact the game is finished. Until it's finished, there's no way to lock everything down into one specific place until we actually get to that point where we got, yes, this absolutely works. We're never going to change this rule. And then next month they change something in the game. Well, guess what? That no longer works.
Right, which is what we've already experienced. I
But
just know
the
that
one
a lot
thing
of
from
people were
experience,
happier with rules. That's what I know. And that I
yeah, but
think
there was
we've
never
lost
any
a lot of people
PvP.
from it.
Yeah, but there was never
Well,
any PvP.
to be fair, from my aspect, I wasn't around long enough for me to really do anything. I mean, I was here for 2-3 weeks maybe, and then we started, transitioning over. And same with a lot of other people. I mean, we have a handful of members right now that were on the old server, but they never got to experience anything.
Exactly. Everyone just sat there and built their ships. It was too easy. Nobody had to fight for anything. There was nothing to struggle for. Everything was just done. You could just go mine all you want and build. So nobody had to actually trade or do anything unless we set it up. That's why things this time is more of a struggle. In order to have everything, you have to trade or you have to fight for it. Because
See,
one
that's
way or
just-
another, no matter what playfield you go to, somebody else is there.
Right, but I mean, I could sit here if I wanted to and not once ever engage in PvP and build all the ships and everything that I could ever want and never leave my homeworld.
True. But why would you just sit on your homeworld?
Because we
wouldn't you-
have players like that.
That makes no sense.
I've talked to several people, and almost every faction has a handful of that's literally all they do is they just want to get resources and build stuff and not actually go out and do anything. And I'm like, that's
How are they getting the resources? That's the question.
golems.
You can't get enough
It-
from the golems to build massive, beautiful ships.
Yes, you can. With the except of Sathium, Erestrum, and Zirconium, you can get everything you need from them. I can take 750 rounds of laser rifle ammo, go out, come back with over 1,000 of each ore, minus magnesium and promethium. I can
Well,
get
see,
over
that's-
1,000 within 30 minutes.
That's game breaking. We need to eliminate that. I didn't know that you get that much from them. We don't have those golems on our planet. So I haven't experienced that.
Yeah,
It's been
I
a
mean,
massive struggle for us. We had to go to planets. We had to get stuff from other people.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why we advanced as fast as we did. Is literally you just go out, shoot a bunch of golems, get the resources, start building.
Well, that's gonna change.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, I haven't shot a golem in I don't know how many weeks at this point,
Well,
other than one's chasing me.
when the
know-
military police are go chasing other fractions for resources, then is our military police corrupt, or he must change the name. But that is not the code from the police.
We're a military police. We're
No,
a military
you're not-
organization.
Yeah, then you are
We're
mercenaries,
the protectors.
but or
We're the protectors of
or,
the skies, but we will fight on any planet that we are working on, just like everybody else.
yeah, but you say you go fight on planets there are bases from other people, and then you are not have the right to call you military police or military.
No, because then why if we were there just to protect everything, including the playfields on the planets, why would they need to have a military at all? Why would they have to build military vessels to protect their own stuff when we could just do it? That would make no sense. Balance and gameplay wise.
I think when you go rob other people, you are not have the right. You call you military, or you must.
Hey,
Or
if we
police.
land on a planet and we get attacked, we're gonna fight back and we're gonna kick your butt. That's just that simple.
Yeah, but you say in the first time you go on planets where other people are already built stuff.
Right.
And you go-
Every
and you
faction
go
has the
fight.
right to fight for a planet.
No,
I think
When-
Wally's trying to argue that police are supposed to be good guys, and good guys don't go out and attack people for no reason.
yeah, that's my
Okay.
my
I understand that realistically, like, but even in real life, the police are corrupt. So I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah, you're corrupt, man. Bah, you are corrupt. Ah, That was what I want to hear. You
He
corrupt.
just wanted you to admit it.
I'm playing the politician.
Yeah. And I have something what it is for me a very big point. The gold price is too low. I must build big, huge rooms for place the gold crates to buy stuff. That is too much. I must put too much gold in this in crates for to buy something. I have bought from Disturb 2.5 crate of ores, and I give him 2 crates of gold for this stuff. The gold price is too low.
Can't change the gold price.
Yeah,
Nothing I can do about that.
change the gold price, please.
I wish I could. I wish I could, but you can't.
You
The
can.
game won't let us.
No, we don't. We don't need. We must pay this thing by the traders, but we must have a gold price for to buy things from us that is higher. That so that you not must come with loads of gold to buy something.
You're wanting to devalue all the other items so that gold's worth more. Is that what you're saying, Wally?
Or you make the gold expensive on
Gold
that.
price cannot actually physically be changed in the game. There's no way around that. There's nothing I can do about that.
Then we
Right.
make our own prices.
The only thing, you know what? Everyone bitched about my prices.
No, yeah, they have no thinking.
Now someone agrees with me.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. For 2 months, everyone complained about the prices being too high.
Ah,
I was
idiot.
good with it.
Now that we go with the developers' prices, everyone's bitching that they're too high.
Yeah, you don't can do this. You are only the half day. You are only transfer gold in one crate.
Well,
And it's too much time what you go invest in this.
I can give a first-hand account. We've run some numbers. That day that I sold a stack of Prometheum pellets to Dream, it ended up being over 3,000 gold bars for one stack of Prometheum pellets, which I
Yeah.
think he said he made 80 fusion cells out of. Now, at the same time, I can go to Wally and purchase one of my SVs that I designed that's basically a drop ship that can hold 10 people for the same price. So I could build ships all day long and can't fuel them if I didn't have the Prometheum because the prices are just wrong.
I agree.
Right.
And that's why I spent over a month hashing out that price list.
Right.
But everyone, including certain people that complain even more now, said that those prices were too high. We changed it again.
Right.
Still too high.
Yeah. And it's probably going to happen even if we change it again. It'll probably still happen. But like you said earlier, that's why we have these discussions so that we can iron out stuff like that. And a lot of us are feeling that we need to change the prices of that.
Now we can implement our prices again, but this time we have to code it into the game. So if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna put the prices back to the way it was, then everybody needs to not complain until it's done.
Yeah, that is cool.
Now it could take the entire week for me and Magic, because we have real lives too, people. You got to remember this, to actually get it done. Because that means we have to go into the files, change the prices on the price list for all of the traders and everything else too. And luckily, I think, I'm double checking right now, I actually have a copy of the old price list.
So
Yes, I do.
I'm just a tad bit confused here. Other than for the trader's sake, I mean, who here actually has ever bought anything from a trader?
We have every
Have
day.
you?
Yep. Otherwise, we wouldn't have anything. None of you guys are stockpiling your stuff to sell it.
I have stuff to sell. No one's contacted me. The one time Dream contacted me, I made a sale, and he bought as much as he could physically afford. Which, isn't my fault. I didn't raise no prices. I went off of standard game prices.
Right.
So, I mean, no, I had stuff ready to go. I still have stuff right now I could sell if anyone needed it. Just no one has any gold to come and purchase it, and we're not supposed to do
User joined your
direct
channel.
or trades, so they have gold before I can sell it to them. Or they have to bring me a resource that I want to buy so that I can buy it, give them the gold, and then they can sell me the gold back for more resources. But no one's approached me on any of that. I have some gold. I have resources. I'm willing to trade. People got to get a hold of me or someone in my faction and say, "Hey, we'd like to trade." We can get trades
Or you
done.
could put up trade posts on the forum and let the other factions know you have this amount to trade.
Yeah, I could do that, but
Hmm?
I mean, if
Or
I'm not
not.
hurting on any resources, though, I mean, it's kind of their responsibility to come looking for
You're
what
the
they
one that
need.
wants the money, so that way, if you do lose everything, you've got the money there anyways.
Well, yeah,
So
I mean,
why
I
not?
understand that, but because right now I have a comfortable amount of money. I'm not greedy.
You have enough money to replace anything you lose right now.
I have enough money and or resources that I can replace anything that I lose.
You can't use resources unless you're talking about rebuilding it yourself
Yeah.
by hand. Okay.
Everything that we got so far is,
Don't tell
hand.
him this, Derp. He comes and gets your stuff.
No, I'm not going to tell
He
him
is
all that.
corrupt. He is corrupt.
Oh, I'm getting more corrupt every day when it comes to the way our gameplay is going, since nobody else is doing it. I think the military is going to become rogue, the entire faction,
Yeah,
just to prove a point.
lucky me.
Oh, lucky you. You're going to get a lot of resources and gold thanks to us. Because everything we get, we're going to sell it all off because we don't need it.
Yeah, you can
You better
sell
get
it,
your gold supply, Wally.
but there's no rubbering on my side here.
Nope.
You don't can rob me.
Alright, I think this is the older price list. But yes, I do have an extra copy of the price list here. But if we want to change the price list back, then we'll definitely change it up and bring it back down to a more balanced price list instead of freaking stupid insanity.
800 credits for Neo Dim. It's more than you get for a gold ingot. Gold ingot is 200 credits.
Morning.
Well, the way we're
User in your
gonna
channel
it's
timed out.
managed is based around the value of gold, and that's how I based our price list. There are some things that are worth more than gold, but only in the aspect of gold, because it's just so you guys could sell it in bulk for profit
User
to
entered your
have
channel.
money. That's why it was designed that way. But we'll put it back and see how it works. But just give us time to do it. It's a lot of work.
Oh,
Well, now, since you had said, and we all kind of know that people did have issues with the old price listing, do we need to break it down and actually discuss a new price listing that everyone can agree on before we go to changing stuff? That way there's, not the people that are complaining about the old system and new system there.
Well, what we're going
I
to
mean-
do is we're going to put the price list together. I'm going to discuss it
Uh-huh.
between all the admins, because those are the leaders of the factions.
Right.
And we're going to discuss it, go over it together. Then we'll put it up and have everyone vote on it.
Right. Because unfortunately, we're all human, and, well, I think we all are, and people are going to be greedy and they're going to want the resource they control to be the most valuable in existence. And I
That's
just know
why-
that's how it is.
It's why we will put the list together. It's balanced.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what they get everyone else's opinions on it. Let them vote on it,
Right.
and the majority will rule. Some things just won't. Not everybody's going to be happy. They never are. But no matter what, the
course.
prices are going to be cheaper than what they are. So
Yeah.
there is no complaints. That's just as simple as it's going to be.
Right. Well, and I agree with you on that one. I had no issue with the prices from the old server. I was happy with everything because stuff was moving and we could actually do things. The only issue is that we had the people who didn't want to actually do trade for gold trades. They all wanted to do I got this much resource, give me your resource trades. That's
And
what
that's why we
kept getting
eliminated
stuck on.
that.
Right.
So from this point on, you can't trade resource for resource. You have to trade it for the gold. And the reason we're using gold is so we don't have to use 20 crates of credits in order to buy anything. If you use the ingots, you only need 1 or 2 to 3 crates compared to what you would need before. And no, I'm not going to listen to any complaining about people having to put gold in crates. I mean, come on. Do like we did before. Make ships to trade with that you could just transfer them. Makes life easy. Trade the ships, not the containers. That way you don't have to unload and load them all the time. So that's one thing we're going to fix and work on now is the economy price listings again. So yay for me. That's going to be fun again. The other thing is we're going to patch and fix the Titan worlds, hopefully get those completely fixed today. Doesn't mean they're going to be. So if there's still bugs and things happen, yes, absolutely. Make sure you put them in the bug report section on the forums. I'm not listening to whining and complaining on the TeamSpeak. That's where we debate topics and discuss issues that we need to deal with. Not bugs.
And the name.
Get a bug, post it.
And the name of my shipyard.
Yes, Wally, we're gonna fix that. No
Yeah.
matter what.
I get.
Because I can't type that anymore.
Just Wally.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Wallies.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna name it WW.
Wallies. Only Wallies.
WW. Wild
Wally's
World.
World?
WWW. WWW.
No,
Wally's
Wall-
World of Wonder.
No, not Wonder.
Just www.
No,
dot
no, only
Wally
Wally.
dot
Only
com.
Wally. Only Wally.
Hashtag Wally's.
Wonder Wally.
Wonder Wally.
Yeah,
Where's Wally?
you can do
Where's
that.
Wally?
So did we ever decide on the tunneling thing? I think we kind of got off subject earlier.
Yeah, we kind of did. I don't think, from just everything, I don't think we're going to go with allowing tunneling to tunnel under bases. One thing we might allow is tunneling to a base,
Okay.
but you can't go under the base.
Okay.
What do you think about that? I mean, it's a civilian
Yeah.
vehicle, so it doesn't have turrets and guns on it. It's going to have the most it has is minigun turrets on it. So even if they tunnel up to the base, they're going to want to tunnel it up so it doesn't get destroyed. So they're going to tunnel up to the wall, come out on foot,
Right.
All right.
How
and they
close
still have
to
to
the
face your
base?
turrets to the wall.
Isn't that
If you-
just bypassing
The-
all the base defenses
To the
as
wall.
well?
The issue I have with it is I don't like anything that can drill anywhere near those stinking resource nodes, because if someone accidentally hits it and I get my freaking base wiped, I'm gonna be upset.
Didn't even think
Oh,
about
I
that.
didn't know I was tunneling to get in your base. Yeah, you hit our node. That's
I
my
never
issue
even.
with it.
You know what? You're absolutely right on that one. But then again, your base should be big enough that they can't even get that close to it.
It should be, but we've set minimum of the size, and that's only surface size. So if people are,
That's it. You know what? That's the other thing we need to bring up is the size of the mining facilities. By 30 is way too small. Even if you did follow the rules, it's still
Uh-huh.
it's still too small for a size. Because you have to have a hangar bay for your hover drillers and whatever, and you have to have your processing room, which is your 3 constructors, and then you have your manufacturing room, which is the one for your auto miners. But everyone is building this little rinky-dinky thing that they don't care about, which is, in my book, they know they're doing it because they know they're going to lose it. But I
Right.
think the base size, we need to adjust the rule and actually put that in today. But what do you guys think a minimum base size for a mining facility should be?
Oh,
I don't know if really dictate that. I mean, because everyone
User was
has a
moved to your channel.
different build style and everything. I mean,
User left your channel.
everything.
You were moved. User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Sorry, I had to move everybody real quick.
Okay.
Just so you know, Spans, we're discussing right now the mining facilities in this weekly's blog, and we're discussing the standard base sizes, how it should be implemented, and stuff like that. We're also talking about the being able to drill up to bases underground or drilling under bases underground and stuff like that. So far, we're on the aspect of not drilling up to bases, is where everybody's leaning, but we'll put that up for a vote later. The one thing we're on right now is the size of mining facilities, because you're supposed to be your bases on the planet to hold the planet. Go ahead, Disturbed. What was your thoughts on that?
Everyone has a different building style, so what you see on the surface might not actually be the entire base. So without, I mean, if someone were to fly to one of my bases and they were like, "Hey, that looks small," I have no clue the actual extent of my base until they actually get into it. Just like with someone else's, I could pop up and see a small landing pad and a small structure, but they a huge underground layout going around that resource node that I have no clue of. So how are we actually going to dictate size? Because if I see
We're
something,
talking about what has to be above ground.
okay,
Because 30 by 30 is too small. And I mean, if you're
right,
gonna and if you're building a base to your resources, and you're only building something that small with no defense, then you're just not thinking correctly, I guess. Because anybody could come over and take anything out 30 by 30 with just 1 HP.
right,
I mean, you got 1 artillery turret on an HP, and you come up there, and you're taking out 8 by 8 areas with just 1 shell. Your base is done in 4 shots.
right,
So you're not going to want to just build your base. You're going to want to build a wall of some type around it as well, which that's where you're going to put your turrets at, so your base doesn't get destroyed. All does.
right.
So on that note, what do you guys feel is a standard size for the mining facility itself, not counting the walls or anything else? That just the mining facility. How big should that be above ground?
oh
I mean,
yeah,
for
to
me,
me,
I see a standard hangar being something around a 10 by 10 for 1 HP driller. And that's just the hangar. But that's just how I see it. A small hangar for an HV beam is a minimum of 10 by 10. But any of you kind of have a thought? What do you think?
I don't know.
There-
Our original thing was we had everything counted towards it, whether it be above ground, underground, turret towers, all that counted towards the 30 by 30. Now we're changing it up, which I have no issue with changing it up, but what's actually going to count towards this? I mean, if I put five, five 5 by 5 towers out there, that's half of the size of the 30 by 30 on top of that. So what counts and what doesn't count at this point?
From corner to corner. Doesn't matter what shape it is, as long as from corner to corner would be, we're talking the 30 by 30 now, would be the 30 by 30. So from one corner, take wherever that block's at to the other side would be 30. And then from that corner to the opposite side and the opposite axis would be 30, whatever is in those directions.
Okay, how about double then? 60 by 60, that's fairly big.
Well, my thoughts on this. Well, first of all, my thoughts begin with the question: why? What is the driver of making these bases so enormous?
It's not enormous. 60 by 60, even by itself, is not a big base.
Okay, I can't pick a 60 by 60. I don't know what that means. Is that 60 blocks?
60 blocks.
Right. Okay.
I mean, just our mining facility alone, which houses just our minimalistic stuff, is probably probably 150 by 150, and that's a small build. But
Okay.
and that's our hangar, and literally it's just a small processor room, a small hangar room, and a very small little tower, little thing that was thrown together in a circular formation on top of the resource node, and then we put up a wall around it.
My difficulty with the large mining complex, and the reason why my mining complexes are very compact and practical, is they fulfill the rules set in on paper. You know, they have a hangar bay, they have a processing area, rah 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 rah.
Yeah, but they have no protection
but then-
whatsoever. Let me just say one thing. Like on a small base like that, you built it with the intent of not caring if you lost it for one period, because it's just not defensible.
Hold on, yeah. Well,
Okay,
I
now go ahead.
built it because I wanted to start the flow of resources from that point, and
Right.
the resources we had to hand were very limited. And also, I built it by myself.
Right.
So this is just one person building this out of the back of the hangar of, actually it was out the front of the tier 1 starting ship.
Right.
You know, so it's a quick pop-up facility that meets the rule requirements, so that I can start resources going, so that we can then get more resources, so that we can then build bigger stuff. And as you'll notice that the second and third bases that were built on Traxxas and on Juno before the freelancers took it out were twice, 3 times, hell, even 4 times the size of that first one. So my issue,
I don't even know.
My issue with the whole size restriction thing is it stops that initial, you know, going to get actual resources at the early game. And it just says, well, you can't get resources basically until you can build a monolith. Which, if all you're doing is going around and harvesting rocks or the asteroid fields, which, you know, everybody else is mining, so there's barely any resources in them anyway, yeah, it's just going to take forever. And, you know, I'm not that interested in mining rocks for 4 hours a day.
Right, neither am I. But what we're discussing in that aspect is you're not using combat steel or steel. You're just going to use whatever's at your hands. You're going to use your concrete, which is quick and easy to throw up. That's what all our bases are made out of, is concrete. Everything is. Because it's an unlimited resource for us to build our stuff with. But what we're looking at is the effectiveness of it actually being used on a planet and being able to be defensible to a force coming to fight you. Because everybody's literally going and building a mining facility on every planet they can get their hands on, basically, instead of just trying to pick one resource and trade it off to buy what they need.
Yes,
and
well, that was what I was planning to do. I mean, I'd got as far as Juno. That's as far as we got. You know,
Which there's no way, in any way, any faction can hold on to that many planets. It's spread out over
but
warp
especially
zones.
not between 2 people. No.
No, not even with 5 or 6 people. It's impossible. Now that's why you need all factions should be focusing more on one, and then go into the others for stockpiling what they want in between, you know, trades and whatnot. So, like I was mentioning before, now that we're getting off topic here, but one, I can already tell you right now, I've already said it, that the military police, we are gonna be going after the gold planet. That's what our one play field area, that those 3 planets there is what we're gonna try and hold on to. So we're gonna dump all our resources into building thing on those planets, and then when it comes to, let's say, magnesium from the pirate side of the solar system, when we need it, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna come and fight you for it, so we can get a stockpile. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. Either way, we're going to try. Because, one, if we could get anything on the ground and start mining any amount of the magnesium we can get from the asteroids before we get our butts kicked off of it, the better. Because if we can go 3-4 weeks without to pay for it, And you know what? It was well worth it. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Right,
But
but
if you
how's
don't
that any
have
different
defensible
from-
bases, then
How's
it's
that
just
any
going to be
different
too
from what
easy.
we've done?
It's not.
You know, right?
It's not. I'm not saying anything against what you did. You didn't do anything in a bad way. I like what you're doing, but you also have to think back about which one you're protecting, which one you want to hold on to, because if you get pushed off it too early, you might lose it. That's just what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to do anything in any way about that. But what we're discussing about the size of mining facilities is that if you don't build a defensible structure, you're gonna lose it. You know you're gonna lose it. So what is the smallest size it should be? Now 30 by 30, you could put, and not counting putting any walls or anything else, just a little 30 by 30 block. You can put a couple artillery cannons on it and a couple of rocket launchers, or some flat cannons maybe and stuff like that. But that would be the extent of it. Is that enough, do you think?
This goes back to what Disturb said at the beginning, though. The main facility could be 30 by 30, or maybe even smaller. But if you've got defense towers, 5 by 5 defense towers dotted around it, do they count towards the facility size? Are we saying that, or what?
At this point, we're not talking about the defenses or the wall around it. We're talking about just the mining facility, which is a hangar bay for your hangar, your processing room, which is your 3 constructors, and your auto mining manufacturing room, whatever you want to call it.
Wait, the processing rooms have to
surface of
have
the node.
3 constructors now?
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Well, it's 3 furnaces or 3 constructors. Doesn't matter. It's always been.
I
3
thought
from
it
the
was.
beginning.
I thought it was changed to 1 furnace now because 3 furnaces was ridiculous, and you had to have at least an advanced
we never
constructor.
set anything in stone. We never set anything in stone, so we just.
And,
it's always
and this
just
this
been
is why
3.
I waste so many resources trying to build a mining facility.
And the sad part is
That's
we've
the
been
thing we need
running
to set down
3 or
today.
4 furnaces and 4 constructors all at the same time because that's what I thought the minimum was.
I thought it was just 1 furnace.
Okay, let's set this right now. Right now. No more
Write
confusion.
it down.
3,
Write it down, because
and it's going to be put in the rules right now.
Rules, yeah.
3 constructors or 3 furnaces? You guys tell me. 3 constructors or 3 furnaces? Which is
Well, it
it?
depends on the resource, okay? Because you don't need a furnace to process magnesium or promethium or pentaxid.
I agree
So,
completely. So let's
constructors.
just leave it at 3 constructors.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it doesn't matter
3
which one you have. It
processing
just has to be-
units, whether it's a mixture of furnaces, constructors.
That's it. 3 processing units. Disturb,
Nice.
go put that in there. It's rule number 23.
Okay.
Pass the buck, Wolf. Pass the buck.
Oh no, that's fine. I'll throw it up there real fast. Not a problem.
So I've been
I'm
flying
actually on
around
the rule
Juno
page right now.
almost this entire time, and who was I supposed to be helping on Juno?
I think you left a while ago.
Was it Lucifer?
It was
He
ethanol.
sent me 2 A4 pages of notes in Steam about what's been going on.
Alright, so how did you want that worded exactly? We want 3 processing units?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just call it processing units, i.e. constructors or furnaces. And or furnaces.
Alright, how do y'all spell processing?
PROCESS.
ING.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Doing what we do is definitely a process, that's for sure. And yes, I know this blog's a little longer than usual, but we've got a lot to discuss and a lot to figure out. All right, so one thing we can all agree on is using drillers to get to assault bases is not going to work on our server. No matter which way we go with it, everybody seems to be more against it than for it. So we'll do a little bit more discussing with some of the other people that aren't involved in the blog right now, get some more thoughts and opinions from the other community members before we actually do it. But it looks like the rule is going to be passed that no drillers are to be used to assault player bases.
Well, now let me throw this up there. What if a driller was used not to tunnel under a base, but to create trenches around the base to assault it?
That means the driller would be above ground.
Right.
I don't see why you couldn't do that. Because
As
the
long
turrets
as
would be
it
able to shoot the
stays
driller.
Yeah, as long as it stays a distance away from the resource node, that's my concern.
Right. Yeah, because we can't dig the resource node, but with any means.
So
Right.
now we have to come up with a distance allotted to be allowed to go to a base. 50
100.
meters.
I would say 10 meters, honestly, but because you're not bypassing.
No. 10 meters is too. You could actually go up underneath the base and get to the node.
100 meters. Well,
No, that's
What? No.
That's just too. No,
I'm talking to
that's
the front
nowhere
door.
near
I'm
your
not
base.
talking to the center of the base. I'm talking to the front door.
We already came up to the point of not going to the front door, going to the walls. So that's why I was saying 50.
Yeah, bearing in mind
Okay.
that obviously weapon range is so limited on the Titan planets.
Yeah.
100 meters. Yeah.
It is too far. 50 is like the bushy spot in the middle between everything.
Yeah, I think 50 is good.
okay.
I
Yeah,
would,
that's 50 from the center. But if your base is 150 by 150 or whatever, then
50
from
meters from the
closest
outer
point.
edge. No, 50 meters from the outer edge of the base. Let's just put it that way. If you'll have to be a little gullible, squishy about it. So if they're only 35, well, they're not at the wall of the base. That's all that matters is they do not go up to the base with their drillers and try and maintain a 50-meter radius around it. So as long as they don't touch your base underground and it is trenches above ground, it'll be legal. If a trench is open on the top, that's a trench. If it's closed on the top, it's a tunnel and you're in violation.
What?
are we
What if you
writing
tunnel
that into
to
the
it?
rules as well?
Yes, we're going to want that written into the rules as well.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
other-
hang on a sec. Let me get back to the rule page. Before we go too far, let me ask a question real fast
Yep.
just to clear stuff up. The 3 processing units running facility, we listed constructors. Now, are we talking about survival, advanced, large, anything? What so that we don't have, oh, well, he just threw in 3 large constructors and I have 3 advanced constructors. What are we actually going for?
Advanced
Well,
constructors.
large constructors
Advanced
can process
constructors.
ingots.
yeah, of
Large,
course.
large because if you're new, you can't really get to the advanced till way later.
Uh-huh.
I'd say we just go with large. What do you guys think?
Large is a
I'm-
minimum.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lowest would be
Okay.
large. So large or advanced constructors and or furnaces. Put that in parentheses.
Yeah, I did.
And that way it's point blank. No one can be confused anymore, and nobody can mishear anything that's been said or misconstrue a discussion over it to thinking it was a rule. Everybody's on the same page now.
Hope so. I really hope so. Okay, so next rule is
No mining drillers can be used to assault player bases. They can be used to dig trenches up to within 50 meters of the base walls or farthest point. Unless somebody else can word that better.
And what would be the purpose of that?
Fire,
Trench.
firing holes.
Trenches provide cover from fire so you can go in as a troop and lob rockets or whatever in at it. We've actually used that tactic on POIs and stuff when we have our POI raids and stuff like that as a group.
It's fun.
Okay, just checking.
Then you have the massive clown charge.
okay, so and we decided on a 50-meter range. What we
50
said?
meters, approximately. Let's say approximately 50 meters from any point of the base, of the farthest points of the base. Go with that. Because, there's different shapes and sizes of every base. Can't be exact.
Also, bear in mind that the point on your HUD is the center of the base, not the outer wall of the base. So if it's a particularly large base, it might say you've got 100 meters. That's 100 meters to the center of the base. Or it might actually
Not
be
to the
only
base
50
as well.
meters to the wall.
Or you might, I mean, like I said, as long as just in that rule, make sure it specifically states you cannot drill up the base.
Okay.
So as long as you don't drill up the base, and you're not standing right next to it in any way, you can't stand there and not take fire. Now, I know you guys can hear me when I say this, so you get an idea of how it works. You can drill all the trenches you want around it for cover. You cannot drill up to where you're not taking fire to the base, and that way troops can get out and just run up to the wall. So that tactic will not work. A tunnel is not allowed. It has to be an open trench. Trenches do not have covers on them.
What about a tunnel to the trench?
As long as it's nowhere near the base, I don't see why not. You can dig tunnels to your heart content. As long as it's not near the base.
Tunnels to POIs allowed?
I don't care about POIs.
Fine.
It's
Good.
like I said, player bases.
Okay.
That's very specific. Player bases. You could tunnel out the POIs and let them collapse underneath you for all I care.
Okay, so I already know our community, I already know our group, and someone's going to bring up what if it's an assault tank? Can I bring it up to the wall at that point?
Well,
In the
yes.
trench,
That's
you mean,
why
or-
we specifically stated drillers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tank
just
Because
making
drillers
sure
okay.
because
Because if you look at the CVs, HVs, and SVs, it specifically states a driller is a civilian vehicle, and it even tells you what kind of turret you're allowed to place on it. So you're not going to bring a driller up in there. It's a civilian vehicle.
right.
And if you bring that, it's going to get poof, gone. You're going to get annihilated easily. An HV military vehicle that has your artillery turrets, rocket launchers, plasma cannons, all that good stuff, is a totally separate type of vehicle, and there's no rules preventing you from waltzing that thing right into the middle of the base. It's war. You attack, you go, you die, you live another day and fight till death ends, whatever.
Oh,
Right.
I was reading the rules yesterday, and dropships are very vague.
In what sense?
Yeah.
What they constitute as, what they can and cannot have on them. I saw a dropship yesterday that was very, very highly fortified, and I at first I thought it was a warship, and then I was looking at it. It's like, no, that's a dropship, because look at the thrusters, look at the configuration. And when I talked to the person, they're like, oh no, this was approved by Wolf, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't at all what we had discussed a dropship could have and couldn't have.
Well, me and Dream worked our asses off, pardon the language, ladies and gentlemen, and remade the classifications for ships. So if you look at the discussion, it says CVs, HVs, and SVs right now. And drop ships are classified as a military style vehicle now. But they are still,
Okay, so
limitations are on them. For drop ships, they're still the only ones allowed the extra large thrusters for lift. But it falls under the category of the class size of 1 to 3. So you can only mount the military vessels, can be carriers, drop ships, and gunboats. So they can't have constructors, food processors, or gardens on them. They can have up to 6 cargo containers and 2 landing pads for SVs. So that has changed. You can actually have actually, we need to reword that again. He messed up on that one there. Now, the turrets that can go on it are cannon, minigun, and sentry gun turrets. It's all that can go on it.
All right, but
on
they're
a dropship.
but the only so
On a
many of
dropship.
those, right?
Right. The amount of turrets and everything still has to be determined by the inspection.
So
And
is a
then-
dropship military or is it civilian?
A
Military.
dropship is military.
Okay.
It can carry anything you want it to, hover tank wise.
According
So
to the rules we got, though, a military ship is allowed certain turrets on it versus
Right,
a
that's what I
civilian
just-
ship.
I just noticed that was missing in there, specifically for dropships, and I am going to address that right now. The only guns that are allowed on the dropship is literally cannon, minigun, and sentry guns.
Okay, so they're classified as a military ship with civilian weaponry, though.
Yes, and I've got to add that to it. I noticed it's not there.
Actually, I would think a dropship would be civilian because honestly, yeah, granted, it has military purposes, but if you're just dropping off mining equipment, you're not going to want to pull out a military grade ship to just drop off a couple.
No. The mining stuff has nothing to do with your dropship. That's your freighter. That's your civilian vehicle that you can put all your stuff on. I guess you haven't caught up to the new list here. Mining vessels are not a thing anymore. They are now incorporated in your freighters. If you want to have mining stuff, you can actually use your freighter to take your mining HVs and all that stuff and have your mining turrets for asteroids and all that on a freighter now. So there's only two class systems. There's the civilian and then the military. The civilian is your all-around freighter that you use for everything on your daily basis. A dropship, the only time you're going to use your dropship is if you're landing on a planet to drop hover vehicles, mainly military assets, or you could use it to haul your stuff to build your mining facilities your first time going out if you wanted to. For me, I would use a dropship because I'd want some type of protection while I'm on the planet building, like the hover tanks. But you can land your freighter on the planet and take out your civilian hover vessels and SVs and stuff. So if you got your civilian style scout, which has miniguns on it, it's a hover vessel, has miniguns on it, drill turrets or whatever, then you can bring that along on your freighter now. So if you land on a planet to drill something, you can use your freighter, land it, build your mining facility, and already have your hover vessel there to drill with. So
I'll be completely honest with you. I'm afraid to build anything because at this point,
I'm so confused.
I'm going to violate something somewhere, and I'm going to have to either undo it or completely redo my entire entry strategy. And
well, that's why we changed the rules around so it's easy. You got your normal vessel, you build it to whatever you want it to be. It's just not going to have all the military grade weaponry all over it. That's the only thing. You can have a huge cargo container room that holds nothing but HVs. It's just not going to have military hover vessels on it. You'll have your little scout vessels and whatever you can have on there, which has your miniguns and stuff like that. It just won't have the rocket launchers and all those other turrets that go on a military tank.
I can't drop my mining equipment, my mining HVs down on a dropship because honestly, I'm not gonna.
No, you can.
I'm not gonna fly a freighter into atmosphere, even though we can. It doesn't mean I'm going to.
No, you can use your dropship. It doesn't matter either or. It's just the dropship's the only one that can carry your military style tanks. Like I said, I would use a dropship because I'm going to bring my tank with me that has rocket launchers and park it outside to kill everything around me and keep me safe while I'm building.
So is there any rule as to what CVs can be left on which planets? I think we have some confusion with some of that.
Okay, homeworlds, you can park whatever the hell you want on them. Doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
Outside of your homeworld, the only things that can land on planets is your freighters and dropships. And yes, you can keep them. They can be landed there as long as you want them to be, because you can't use them as military assets because one, the turrets aren't going to keep you alive from a player. Now in space, you can leave anything you want anywhere, but so there's no restrictions. You can have your military vessels and leave them parked around a space base you built somewhere, and just they can stay there. It doesn't matter. The only restriction is on planets. The only vessels that can go on planet for any reason are your freighters, your dropships.
Okay. That's with any planet other than your homeworld, correct?
Other than the homeworld.
Imagine I'm a rich guy and I want to buy a ship that I create by myself. And what can be on a private vessel?
It depends. Is it a freighter, civilian class
it's
freighter,
a
or is it
private
military?
vessel. It's a more used
There's
vessel.
only two classes: the freighters or the military.
Yeah.
Pick which one
That's
and you
okay.
build it. Military, the only difference is that they don't have gardens and all that extra stuff. You can make into anything you want them to be. The only not gonna have military guns.
When I don't have military guns, so I can put everything on the ship what I want.
Yes.
Then I have my private vessel. Then I'm satisfied.
That's the whole reason we changed the rule listing, is because it's very simplified.
Now,
The only,
I
only
want
thing you can't do with the private vessel, your freighter is what it's called. It's classified as a freighter, civilian vessel, is you can't transport military vessels with it. That's it. Now your
Oh, but
SVs, there is no classification, so you can have whatever kind of small vessel you want. The two of them on your freighters. So you can have one that's a heavy bomber and another one that's nothing but cargo containers. It doesn't matter.
the private vessel now, private CV. I can have gardens, I can have cargo boxes, everything.
Unlimited, as much as you want.
Okay, then it's good. Build my ships.
And it's the only one that can have mining turrets as well. The only limit to it is, the only limit to any vessel design is literally how many turrets each one gets. That's it. That way we don't have our ships running around like we were in the last server, where we all had 10 freaking artillery cannons and 20 rocket launchers flying around everywhere. Or in my case, 30 pulse lasers that would lag everyone out every time it fired.
100 artillery guns. Valhalla.
Valhalla only had 40.
It still lagged everybody out.
Hey, the artillery never lagged anyone. It was those pulse lasers.
But yeah, the pulse and plasma lags everybody out. It's not just
Valhalla.
the one bit vessel. You gotta worry about the other one having the same. Any amount of it's gonna lag it out.
But the reason
Valhalla
why we
comes in and everything wipes out.
you lag out. When the lag stops, you realize you're standing there floating in space dead.
Did
nothing
anybody see the post on the CVHVSVs that I left about flagships? Was there any thoughts about that?
Ooh.
I only just noticed that.
I saw it. I have mixed feelings about it. Like the idea, but at the same time, if I were to capture your flagship, does that make it my flagship and then I cannot build a flagship at that point? Or does that mean I have two flagships?
You know
Or
what?
does that mean
That is actually an awesome idea, but we'll leave that for a different discussion, because this one here is already an hour and a half long, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to cut this one in a second here. But yeah, we will definitely revisit that topic of flagships. That's an interesting thought. You know, I'm all for it, but yeah, we need to put some discussion into that one a little bit, and we'll bring that one into
definitely
next
some-
week.
What is a
Nice.
flagship?
We'll
To be
discuss it next week.
decided.
All right, guys. Well, as you can tell, we've got a lot we're debating, a lot we're discussing, a lot that's changed, and a lot that's been fixed, and some other things that we're working on fixing. But as always, comment and let us know what you think. Have any ideas? Give us ideas, because the more the merrier. Means we can get more processes done and more balance going quicker. But as always, thank you for watching. I'm glad you could join us, and remember to play hard and game hard. And until next time, take it easy.
Yeah, safe journeys.
Later.
Too late.
Later.
there, guys?
And out.